Time now for Immigrant Stories. When Angeles was 4 years old, she left her home in Mexico and came to the United States with her parents and her brother. 20 years later, after graduating from college and finally receiving her U.S. residency status, she was able to return to her hometown and to the house she hadn't entered since she was a child.
It was surreal walking in there because I almost expected things to be the same way that we had left them, and obviously they weren't. Like, things had been moved around, like the couches weren't there, like, and everything was kind of stored up in one room, and the curtains that my mom had in the kitchen were still there, and I got to walk into my parents' room where all the stuff is now, and there was a little suitcase, and since my grandma and my cousins had lived there, I just figured that maybe that suitcase belonged to one of my little cousins. And when I opened it, there was like a bunch of Barbies and like Barbie clothes and stuff like that. And it didn't seem familiar when I first looked at it, but I had this distant memory of my cousin and I getting the scraps of fabric from my aunt. She had a uniform shop, and we grabbed the fabric and made uniforms for Barbies, and they were still there. And like, as soon as I saw that and held that in my hands, it was like going back to that little girl that kind of had to like pack up her dolls and leave everything because I didn't I remember my mom was like, you can't take any toys. I think I brought with me like 2 to 3 changes of clothes. Like, it was a small bag. And the only thing I brought with me was like this audiobook of The Little Mermaid, and that was it, So I guess growing up, I always had that idea that I would always go back and, take my stuff back and everything. But when I was there, I was like, these aren't my things anymore. Like, and in a way, like, this isn't my house anymore. And like, and I think that's why coming back here, I felt like this is home. Like, that used to be home, but this is home now. Except,
what were the emotions that you experienced there? I mean, when you walked into that house, when you opened up that suitcase with the Barbies, what emotions were you feeling?
it was a big loss. Because I had always daydreamed about it so much. And everything that I thought belonged to me didn't belong to me anymore. And like, seeing the town and remembering everything, it was just, I was so grateful to go back because even though it felt so distant from me now, I'm glad I was brought up in such a loving environment, and just I got to re-experience my culture all over again.